Hi, gorgeous soul, and welcome to Spiritually Empowered Podcast. This show is your go-to place to learn all about your psychic intuitive gifts, explore and unveil taboo topics, and discover new ways to walk in power on this planet that is undergoing a massive transformation. We each came here with a higher calling. This podcast will catalyze you into yours. I love to simplify and refine ancient mystical teachings and practices, let you in on my most personal revelations and shifts, as well as bring on soul-inspiring guests to support you with embodying your power and saying yes to your destiny today. I am so excited to dive deep with you. Let's begin. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Spiritually Empowered Podcast. Thank you for being with me in this moment, for sharing some time with me today. Let's take a breather together. You can close your eyes if you're able to. Just let this podcast meet you wherever you are at in your world. Let what wants to touch your heart and soul touch your heart and soul. Let any weight off your shoulders or your belly or any heaviness that you're carrying, I invite you to let yourself be healed through our time together. I always like to just open that door to breakthrough, open that door to spiritual miracles, open that door to quantum manifestation. We are in this together, and I just wanted to have a chat with you today. I wanted to sit with you. I've got a candle lit. It is Monday night for me. Mondays are ruled by the moon, so we've got this feminine, deep wisdom in the air, this intuitive intelligence that is inside the body, readily available now. Let's have a little drop in. If you're able to, close the eyes. If not, it's all good. Just open your senses. Go from thinking to sensing. Sensing without judgment, without even preferences. As we open the senses, you might notice, I wish this was this way. I wish it was warmer. I wish it was cooler. I wish my tummy didn't feel this way. Whatever. Let's, instead of not letting the preference in, let's observe that with love. The yogis talk about this all the time. Yoga is what triggered my awakening back in 2014, actually 13. So let's practice the skill of opening our awareness and just observing what is together now. Great. Take a really conscious breath in, filling with prana, with energy. Exhale, stagnant air. Let it go. Empty, empty. Relax the shoulders. Another deep conscious breath in. Feel it fully. To the top, all the way. Exhale, surrender the out breath. Just let it go. And keeping your breath with you, keeping a level of awareness on your breath, that is the most basic and profound way to be in the present moment. To return to the breath, the yogis would say, in one 10-minute seated meditation, the mind wanders 1,000 times. People will say, oh, I can't meditate because I have so many thoughts. Your mind thinks. Your mind is a thinker. The mind is not wrong for its thoughts. It is a TV station. It is a transmitter. It is a receiver, actually, of information and intelligence at different levels. It's called the chitta, 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 the mind stuff. And if we look at the teachings of yoga, I don't know if it's the first, maybe it's the second. So essentially it is one of the core sutras or weavings of the yoga philosophy, the heart of yoga. It is yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of the chitta, of the mental stuff. And one key to that practice is to let the mind be the mind. We're not running from it. We're not trying to stop it. We're taking the power from it by watching it now. Who's the watcher of the mind? Who's behind the mind? Who is the awareness behind your experience? Is that the I am? And let me just touch on this for a moment. If we want to feel more stable inside our being, we develop this type of awareness. If we want to develop steadiness, stability, peace, openness to our divine nature, like a fountain at the crown chakra, then this is a practice for that. Seated meditation is a practice of inner stability, of calming the waters by practicing that skill of observation. And another podcast I have on that, it's about immanence and transcendence. And if you haven't listened to that one, check that one out next. That is a mystery teaching that I am just so in love with. And that is about embodying that polarity of I am beyond this experience of my life. I am not attached or identified with my human, with the impermanent nature of the world, which many spiritual traditions just focus on the immanence. The I am not my mind. I am not my, can you feel the elevation? It's upward spirituality. Well, I practice shamanism. That's my life path. If I were to label it or call it something, it would be a shamanic path. And that is the immanence or the embodied essence of the divine, essentially. That is human blood and flesh. That is the feminine path of humanity, of Shakti, of not gender, but embodied. You have expectations. You have attachments. You feel these things. You move through cycles of emotions and experience. It is an embodied practice. And many spiritual souls coming back into the willingness to embody involves practicing transcendence, because it can be very intense being a human on this planet. So one way to balance and harmonize ourselves is to have a seated meditation, point blank, period. It's called Zazen. If we want to feel stable and steady, set a timer for 5 minutes, 3, 1, whatever you want to do. Start small and count your breaths. Inhale, exhale, and just observe what is. So it's a marriage of immanence and transcendence. That is the thing. That it's the great work. It's an inner marriage. It's a celebration of our carnal humanity, the fact that we are temporary, the fact that this world is temporary and finite. Isn't that wild? And dancing in infinity as well. The shamans might call it dying before you die, touching infinity. while you're in a body so that you can enjoy your incarnation. Breathing into that. So I had no clue all of that was going to come out. That's just what happens in these spaces. We just show up with a prayer, with an intention, and just see what happens. Sometimes I have a topic. Other times I just want to be with you and chat with you. And my feeling for today's chat is about my personal experience. I want to give you a little update. I want to touch into what are my greatest lessons from 2023 and what this year feels like for me, because I know that I lead through example and that there will probably be similarities between us. And taking some more breaths into your belly. Where do I want to start? So when I was entering 2023, I was in Maui, Hawaii. God bless that land. I was in Maui, Hawaii, and it was New Year's Eve, and I was on a rock, literally in the ocean, watching the sunset, the most colorful sunset I've ever seen, painted across the most wide open sky. You've got mountains in the distance. You've got the depth of the ocean at the horizon. You've got the sound of the waves crashing on the rocks. And I was fully present by myself on that rock. And I took myself to Hawaii mainly because my partner and I, of almost 2 years, separated. We were still committed for about a month and a half after we separated in December of 2022. And I took myself to Hawaii. And I was in that middle point of, damn, that's a lot of grief. This was my first, that I felt at the time, encounter with a divine masculine counterpart. And I choose you energy. The men before that, leading up to that person, were what I call havesy-wavesy. I was consistently disappointed, and then this person came along and really demonstrated chivalry, really demonstrated what I want in a partner. And that was my first conscious relationship, being at this version of myself that I've grown into. Of course, I've had other long-term beautiful relationships, yet this one was a new phase of relating for me. And in Hawaii, I was grieving, and I was also in the in-between, right? Of, are we going to get back together? Are we not? And there was drama sprinkled in, and I was okay with things that I would not be okay with today. So I learned so much about what I allow. So that really set my year up on a fascinating note. I was in this beautiful land, and wherever you go, there you are. That's the saying. I had an amazing time, and I was totally grieving. So it was a marriage of death and rebirth, I guess you could say. And then just a summary of 2023 for me. Me and that partner ended up splitting after about a month and a half. And I really felt like I had time to process that and build up my identity beyond that relationship, because that can be one of the most challenging things when exiting a longer term relationship is, who am I? Who am I now outside of this dynamic? And before I met this person, my previous partner, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to love at the level that I know I truly desire to love at. I want to be completely consumed, tied up. I want to be completely consumed in love. Y'all, my Venus is in Pisces. That's the frickin' art form here. I require spiritual love. I want to know your soul. I want to feel you. So I made that decision, and I've lived through that. Now, somebody that loves at the level that I love and is devoted to maintaining her individuality, ooh, it is an art form, and I am in love with that. I did a poll on Instagram in the last couple months, and y'all voted on the topic of a podcast being heart alchemy. What is that? It's honest relating. Shamanism teaches that everything is relationship. How you relate to one thing in your world is mirrored to how you relate to everything else. So I decided that what I wanted was consumption. If you know my story, then you know that I used to be in a toxic codependent relationship a while back, which, my God, who hasn't been in one of those at least, right? At least one. And then I was Miss Independent, where I wanted to get the thing off the shelf. I literally have a memory. This is years ago. This was like 2016. This was like 2015, right when I got sober from everything. I'm talking substances now, that I was in this like independent thing, and I was dating this like pretty awesome person. We dated for almost a year, pretty awesome person, yogi. And I just remember this. I was reaching at the shelf like, oh, I'm trying to reach this thing in my apartment. And he's like, I'll get it for you. And I was like, no, I can get it. And I just remember, I don't know what unfolded really in that moment, but he wanted to do for me. And I was conditioned to be Miss Independent because I had been Miss Dependent. So then I went to the other pole. I swung the whole other way, and I was Miss Independent. And that's fine, because when I was ready, I removed a couple walls, and then I found the center point. I love chivalry. Let me just tell you, I love men who open doors for me and kiss me on the hand and pay for dinner. I just love it. And I had to really swing in all these places to arrive at that honesty in how I want to relate. And because I had this pattern of relating where I would be my badass independent self and guide the conversations and push to the front of the line, not push, but I mean, come on, rising Aries might be a little pushy or be a little loud and proud, right? Can't help it. It's just rising Aries stuff. Move through the door, like walk through the door and not even relax into my body and allow him to open it for me. Like it was that type of relating. And this is just a really tiny, simple example of a really big conversation. We're all going to have probably unique desires in this realm, but this was my journey to really figure out like, ooh, I want to play this different. I want to play this different. I am going to actually, instead of leading with my masculine penetrative energy, I'm going to soften back into my body, which was uncomfortable because I was used to controlling, and that's a safety thing, right? That's a power thing. That's a power grab, and that's fine. I just realized that's not how I want to do it. I don't like that. I'm not into it. I want to lead from my feminine essence. I want to be in my body and in my truth and inside my experience versus jetting forward So if we want a polarity in relating, we've really got to decide and experiment with how we want to relate. And this is not fixed. This is not fixed. Like, none of this is. Nothing is, right? It's like if you take it into the bedroom and, oh, you like to dominate, or, oh, you like to receive. I love to dom. Welcome to Ashley's podcast. Like, we just end up here. It's like those women's circles that you just end up talking about sex and kink, and I don't know, is that just my women's circles? Or, let me know if this comes up in your groups. But it always tends to touch into here because I'm just very passionate about these things. So nothing is fixed. And I feel like in a balanced union, there's a dance. You lead, they lead, assuming there's a trust there. Because when we, say you want them to feel like lead where we're going, it's just this whole thing. Well, you have to have a trust there, right? So it's not like you just let the person lead from day one. No, it's just a dance. So anyways, I decided that I wanted to relate with men in my feminine essence. And that changed how I moved. That changed how I showed up. And I loved it. I was like, this is great. This is working. I love it. It's giving this person the space to be in their masculine pole. And that's naturally what I want. So I dig it. So where were we? Okay. The memory of reaching up on the shelf. And I have another memory with that partner. This is back in 2016 or whatever, 15, 16. And I think it was 16. And I had a ferret, and the ferret had fleas, and I was in this apartment, this really beautiful apartment, which my OG clients, y'all might have been in that apartment. I had clients in that apartment. I've been doing Reiki sessions and energy medicine and tarot readings and oracle readings since 2016. 15. It's been a bit. So if you're an OG client, shout out. I love you. Thanks for being here. It makes me so happy to have you in this space. So I remember my ferret had fleas. And I was like, oh my God, I have to put her in this little traveling carrier, and we have to go outside, and then I have to spray and bomb the whole place. And my partner was there, and he just looked at me and said, do you want me to do it? Y'all, it was about orgasmic in my body, but this was the beginning of my journey of letting my man do for me. And I am so grateful for every beautiful gesture and all the beautiful things that I've received in relationships. Oh my God. And I just looked at him and I said, yeah. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. Yes, do it. Thank you. And he was like, go sit in the car and I'll be back. And I was like, oh my God. And I feel like I literally feel like that is my first remembrance in my body. Like, wow. Oh my God. I just remember feeling like, yes, thank you. You just helped me so much. So I went and sat in the car, and he put up his I just thought it was really hot because he took care of fucking business. I thought it was really hot and beautiful. He put up his bandana, flea bombed the whole place, met me outside, and I was like, yes, baby. So that was really great. All right, where were we? Okay. So back to 2023. I just want to close up the space with 2023 with you and just offer some reflections. So back to that separation. So we completely separated. This was January-ish where we stepped away from each other, and it felt as clean as it could have been. Honestly, I'm really grateful for that. And I remember the love being really strong and almost like purified and sanctified as we said goodbye. It really felt purified towards the end and at the end. So that was really, really beautiful. And then by golly, I fell in love again. So my 2023 year was a year 6 for me. And year 6s are known as marriage and divorce years. Year 6s are in numerology, and you can calculate your yearly number for 2023 and 2024. I've been tracking this, and it's been just epic. And so year 6 was, for me, a year of relationships. So literally a month, almost right after, me and my previous partner closed the door. which I had a month and a half to integrate. Like we weren't talking barely, like we weren't hanging out. Like that was a lot of space between us. So I had space to integrate. Anyways, I fell in love again with somebody that was even closer to my dream. I mean, oh my God, what a beautiful man. I'm so blessed. And we had a 7-month union, and you may have seen him in my classes and in my membership. And I'm just grateful. And it was the easiest relationship ever. It was about 7 months. Our souls are just still loving each other. We separated consciously. And I've spoken about this in little bits because it's been a lot for me to process. It's been extremely painful. This is somebody that I was really dreaming of kids and a family with, like for sure. And the points that I want to share in that relationship was total harmony, balance, and sacred union, king-queen codes, sacred sexuality. And I really argued with God. Essentially, he decided that a part of my future that was a non-negotiable no longer matched up with his future. And that was going to be the end. That was the end. So we decoupled over a couple weeks, and it was gut-wrenching pain. It literally brought me to a really deep place. And one of the most painful parts about that was, let me pause and go back to the most beautiful parts. Sacred sexuality, opening up to deeper communication. We had so much in common. So many things in common and so many adventures. We were just a fucking match. Like, that's it. And we will love each other for eternity. That's just the way it is. We had such a deep, deep experience in that bit of time together. And I honor every single second. And I know that this is going to go down in the books for Ashley in this lifetime. And I bet for him too. And essentially, I broke down, as anybody would, right? In a realization that this is no longer going to work long term. So why kick the can down the road? So we departed over a couple weeks and went on dates and, just gently did what's called a decoupling, which that means instead of just saying goodbye in 1 second, split it off. It's an overtime type of thing. For example, in decoupling, what we did was we kept our commitment to not be open to other people romantically for the time period that we decoupled. And we discussed this every moment. Like we were really on board with this decision together, obviously. So we discussed our relationship agreements and just, kept talking and just their space between us started to grow, and it was agonizing. And I want to share something that might help you. So when I was entering this relationship, this was probably late winter of 2023, early spring was when we became a couple in March, monogamous couple in March. I wrote this poem and it started with, I want soul-crushing love. If you know me, I'm a little bit intense. I'm a little bit of a deep person. And for some reason, from the depth of my desire and feminine longing brought me to this poem. And I literally wrote it while driving. Don't do that. No, that's just not a great idea. But it just came to my brain and I wrote it. And word to word, I got exactly what I wrote. So I will not be writing another poem that says I want soul-crushing love, because you say that, and it didn't register to me until after the fact that my soul's being crushed. Some part of me wanted to have that experience. And that's beautiful, and I celebrate that. And what you write with the activation of your turn on and your sensational pleasure, you gonna make real. You are going to make real. That's it. So I learned something there. I literally learned that my words and my pleasure and power and my language and the spells that I write and the poems, art is so magnetic. Oh Lord, art is magnetic. That I drew that straight to me. For better and for worse. Because I had other things in the poem that were so beautiful, like light, a love that's light as a feather and deep into the heart and soul. Check. Got it. I manifested exactly what I wanted. And I really had a breakdown. I'm just going to talk about this for another moment or two because I want to go into 2024 in this new season, but we got to wrap up the past in order to have some fresh energy coming in, right? So do this with me. Let's wrap up the past together, my love. I'd love that. So I really had some time of arguing with God. A theme that I've seen with Saturn and Pisces right now. Saturn moved into Pisces in March. I believe it was March 2023. And that's a big deal. I'll maybe do another podcast on Saturn return and what that means and what Saturn represents and things. But essentially, Pisces represents our relationship to addiction, to forgiveness, to God, to faith, to trust. And Saturn is the Lord of karma, the teacher. And what I've seen in my circles and in my larger community and groups of connecting is people have been fucking questioning their faith. People have been questioning the very fabric of their reality, the very belief systems that shape them. And that's good, and that is really destabilizing. So I have felt this personally and in the field. And I just want you to know that you are absolutely free and you are safe to reconstruct your house of beliefs. This is Saturn in Pisces. The house that holds your deepest spiritual beliefs is probably going through an incredible renovation, maybe even blowing up and being rebirthed if you've got Scorpio in your chart. So with that relationship coming to a close and with my Saturn return, I really argued with God. Like I broke down. Why would you take this from me? Why would you remove the greatest love I've ever had? I was pissed. Now, here's the deal that I made myself many years ago. This changed my life forever. This was after I got out of that toxic relationship. I said, Ashley, I will never leave you again. I will never abandon you again. So what that means in real time is I don't suppress my feelings. I don't have time to go around the block again and not that I don't have time. I don't want to say that. I do have time. Whoa, let's switch that. I do have plenty of time. I just don't need to go around the block again and relearn a lesson so that I can actually process through the emotions, because that's what happens. And that's not wrong or bad. And so many things from childhood will generally come back in a different form so that we can process through the emotions and actually feel them. The emotions just want to be felt. So anyways, I was peeved and I let that rumble through me. I was so upset, like fists into the ground. Why? And I let myself feel. I am a deep feeler. My orgasmic bliss and pleasure and joy and power is big, and everything else is big too. And I'm getting really good at finding the center point between it all. See what I'm doing with words? It's true. Finding the center point for me is getting easier and easier, yes. So I went through some really, really deep emotions. I've had a lot of mental health things come up for me in the last 6 or even more months. and it's been a little rough. I've been doing hypnotherapy, and I've been working at an addiction center, which has been so beautiful, and the Winged Alchemy membership is thriving, and I'm so happy, and it's been tough in my mental space in a lot of ways. So I just grieved, and I just purged, and I just got really mad, and I got really upset, and I'm like, why? And then it passed, That's the thing with emotions. When we purge them out safely with love, they don't get hooked into the body. They get hooked into the body when we push them down and down and down and down. No, get angry. Go smash a pillow. Yell at the sky. Why? Open your throat. Why? Get it out of your body. Say you're miserable. Say you're orgasmic. Say it. Because if you squash it inside your body is the unconscious, and that will become a weight in your world. A weight in your shoulders, your low back, and a magnetic force that attracts that which you no longer need to learn. So the emotions just want to be felt. You've got a sensitive Pisces talking to you, and I know you're a beautiful, sensitive soul. The emotions don't want to be analyzed. They just want to be felt. So, thank you, God, for that beautiful experience, and for all of the wisdom that came from that, and the fact that I manifested that love. That came from my magnet on the inside, and it's only going to get stronger to that which is meant for me and aligned for me. So if you, quote unquote, lose something that was really special, just remember that you created it. You created it. You brought that in. You were the one that magnetized how they treated you. That was you. For better or for worse, generally, right? You're the common denominator in your relationships. So as we tweak or shift or fall in love with the things inside of us, this is why energy medicine is life-changing. Because if you shift one belief, if you remove one energetic attachment, your whole world just changed. This is why energy medicine is life-changing. You resolve one energetic attachment to dad, to a past life, to whatever it is. Now, your magnet that draws things and people to you is different. Side note, I just opened up one-on-one shamanic healing sessions again. And usually, y'all, like sessions for energy medicine for somebody that's got almost 10 years of experience in these spaces, they're hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. One session with me where I am looking into your energy, where you've got my full attention on you, just you, and your karma and your soul desires and your guides and angels, they're talking to me, and your ancestors for 1 hour is $125 right now. And if you're listening to this later and the prices are different, or I'm no longer offering those sessions, I love you. Join my mailing list so that you can get all the updates on when they return. Because things in my life and my business, they're in a flow. So I can't promise that these sessions are going to be available next month or whatever. So if you want my focus on your energy to remove attachments, to heal past lives, to resolve an entity attachment, to clear wounds, so that your magnet and what you call in is shifted and lifted. Come on now. Just book it, and I can't wait to support you. All right. Had to just bring that in because I am so passionate about energy medicine. deeply, deeply passionate about it. It is my life hack. I get a healing for myself almost every week. Almost every week. I invest in people that can help me see my blind spots and heal my own energy because I know that that's just hygiene. Like that's just a part of my self-care routine. And I do group energy healing in my groups and in the Winged Alchemy membership, which is a lower ticket item, $55 a month. Doors are going to reopen in the spring of 2024. So that's all coming up. So anyways, you've got options here. If you want a closer experience with me and with this movement of empowered, empathic souls, lit up, magnetizing their dreams and living their purpose with ease and sexiness and turn on. It's meant to feel good, right? It's meant to light us up. All right, I'm going to take a breath into my belly. So I got to perform on a couple stages in 2023. I got to perform on a cruise. I went on my first cruise in 2023 and I literally performed Back to Black Amy Winehouse in front of hundreds of people. I'm not exaggerating. Hundreds of people. I was like, oh, it's karaoke night. I'm like, bitch, get me in line. I am literally not afraid. And my intent, I used to be terrified of all of that. Nope. I just love to do it. And I was nervous though, for real. And I was like, all right, my intention is just to have fun. That's it. That's it. It's not for anybody else. It's just to have fun. And so I did that. I started recording an album of music this year. I launched my membership. I met my exact goal for how many people I truly wanted in the membership in 2023. And that felt so powerful. That was a huge deal. This is the second time that I'm running the membership. And it opens only twice a year. So it's a 6-month membership. It opens twice a year. We close the container so that we are a solid community. It's not an open door policy. It's a solid structured space. So that is a massive celebration. And let's see, what else do I want to wrap up with? Any other highlights or wisdom? I had a God awakening where I started to use the word God again, and I had this realization of my relationship with God and a direct conversation / conversations with God. So that was so powerful. And I spent a lot of time with beautiful musicians in 2023 and having fun and lots of sister circles and hanging out with friends and leading a rite of the womb, a shamanic rite and initiation for a beautiful group of sisters. And the greatest lesson I learned in 2023 was to stay devoted to love. Even if it brought me to my knees, even if it brought me to new levels of orgasmic bliss, because I did touch so many new experiences. I had a tantric awakening. I realized this was another huge thing. I realized at like a Scorpio eclipse or whatever in the spring of 2023, I was like, I literally feel like I am so focused on the moment of orgasm and on a specific money goal. This is what led me to my Tantra mentor now. I realized that I was focusing all my energy on these 3-second experiences. Boom, the money goal. Boom, the orgasm. This is totally programmed into us. And then I was like, and I didn't judge that. I'm like, that's fine. There's literally nothing wrong with any of that. That's totally fine. I'm on a path of unshaming. That's the membership. That's this community. Unshaming, because shame distorts your power, point blank. Like it just takes us over. So we're going to unshame all of our stuff, a moment at a time. So I was like, I wonder if I could, instead of focusing my attention and energy on these peak moments, which are short, right? You get the money goal, it's peak. peaked, and then now you want to do something else. You have a bigger goal, or you have the most amazing orgasm, and then you're like, okay, that was great, and then now what, right? So these peak moments, I was like, I wonder if I could extend it. I wonder if I could live in an orgasmic state. I wonder if I could expand my pleasure so that my pleasure is not even just in the bedroom, but I can get physically, erotically turned on by smelling my coffee in the morning. And this is a part of awakening into the body. Why else did we come here? You think we came here to suffer? No, we didn't. We came here to drink coffee and have orgasms, right? Okay, I'm glad we agree on that. Great. So I just said, oh my God, I wonder if I could live in wealth consciousness, in orgasmic consciousness. And if you know Scorpio, then you know Scorpio and Taurus is the sex, money, power axis. And that's my North Node in Scorpio. And I've got all these placements in Scorpio. So anyways, that tends to be where I go to, sex, money, power. That's where all the lessons are, many of them, and the desires and things like that. So your North Node will tell you the essence of your destiny or your life's path. Great. So I went on that journey of expanding my pleasure. I hired a Tantra mentor, and I actually met him at Inner Fusion, which was a really, really awesome festival that I went to recently. I met him in person and experienced one of his workshops, which is so amazing. So I started to learn how to expand my pleasure, how to be in an orgasmic state, yes, in the bedroom, how to expand orgasm, how to channel that energy so that it's not just a spike up and a spike down, but it's elongated and it reverberates. And then expanding my wealth identity. Victoria Washington is so helpful, and my Tantra mentor is Sean Roop. These are beautiful mentors. And of course, we're probably not going to resonate with everything they say, and that's not the way it is. It's just, wow, you helped me learn something here. You've embodied something beautiful that I've experienced through your presence. So that's another key takeaway, is the skill and the practice of expanding pleasure through my body and living from that place. And then I was like, well, how does that relate to addiction? Because drugs feel really good. Well, here's the short answer, because that was one of my main questions to my Tantra mentor. And he's like, all right, great. And I'm going to totally paraphrase. He's like, I love cake. Say you eat a piece of cake and you're like, oh my God, it was so good. That was such a good idea. It feels so good in my tummy. Yum. And then you like, oh, I want another piece. I want another piece. I want another piece. Well, if you get a stomach ache, then you're not actually following your pleasure. Or if you feel guilt or shame, you're not actually following your pleasure. So the idea that he taught me is you want to have pleasure before, during, and after. So during foreplay, if you're not having fun, that's not a full experience. Or if at the end of lovemaking, the usual experience is disconnect, that's not it. So the idea, not that it's not it, because that was kind of judgmental, but there's more. There is so much more. And that's not it for me. I genuinely want connection before, during, and after. I want to be with you. And that has everything to do with the way that we run our orgasmic energy through our body and not just explode it out into the ethers and then we feel depleted. There's ways to channel orgasmic energy so that we can orbit it. And I have a whole month's teaching on sacred sexuality in the membership that if you join in the spring, you get access to. My favorite sexual alchemy practices, products, and tools, and links, and just awesomeness. So that is there for you if you want to dig a little deeper. There's a whole month in the vault, which the vault in the membership is you get everything that has ever been done in the membership. All the classes is housed in the vault. So nothing ever goes away. If you're in the membership, if you're paying $55 a month, you get everything. The live membership journey and the vault, everything that has been. So that was a huge thing for me this past year, was expanding my pleasure and actually practicing being a tantrika, practicing being in my pleasure. And also the other side of that is welcoming all emotions, expanding sadness when it comes, and running that through my body and letting that in and seeing the beauty in it and letting it move me. It's not just the joy, right? We can't numb one without numbing the other. So the idea is to somehow learn how to steward our emotions and move them and honor them. And I am by no means any type of master at this. For real, there's no way. I'm learning every day how to be with my emotions, how to guide them, how to lead my life while honoring all that I feel from moment to moment. So that feels like where I want to leave this conversation right now, actually. And there will be a part 2 probably on 2024. I've had some wild experiences so far. This year is a number 7 for me in numerology, which is all about spiritual awakening. And I've already had some crazy spiritual experiences up in a spaceship and channeling, and a really wild weekend at Interfusion Festival that brought up a lot of stuff for me, a lot of interesting things that I had the opportunity to move through and learn from. And yeah, wow. So let's just end this chat with a prayer, if that's cool with you. I just want to pray a deep breath right now. Let's pray that into our bodies. Send it out, make a sound, open the jaw, the mouth. The sound is connected to the genitals. So if one is open and expressed, the other one flowers open too. God, Great Spirit, Goddess, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it God. God, thank you for blessing this room. Thank you for empowering the person that's listening and me as well. Thank you for helping us release anything that doesn't belong to us, God. And I just pray that you ground us into our power and lift us into our purpose. And lift us from any weight or unnecessary heaviness that we may be feeling during this time. Give us the remembrance of our psychic power, God, and allow us to shield and protect the energy around us in our homes and for our loved ones so that we feel fortified in your energetic protection and support. May we feel fortified even as our beliefs are shifting. May we feel secure even as we are evolving who we are. May we marry all dualities and polarities within ourselves. And may we walk in beauty on this planet, believing in a healed world and taking action on your calling over our lives. My invitation for you, my love, is to soften into your body and to define the next step on your path of power and purpose. Maybe that's a delicious meal. Maybe it's starting a podcast. Maybe it's signing up for a course. Maybe it's booking a session with me. What's the next step moving towards greater wholeness and healing for you? I thank you deeply for listening today. Thanks for being in this room, in this space with me, in the galaxy, in this infinite, divine, and wild universe. I love you, and I'm so excited to chat with you soon. Have a beautiful day, evening, whatever you're going into. Chat with you soon, my love. See ya. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you absolutely loved this episode. And if you did, please remember to leave a review and share some love. I will see you in the next one.